Go to bed. I don't listen to Jim. I wasn't really. Can't stop.
Good evening and welcome to the Untitled Chapter Board of Education meeting. Today is February 28, 2022 at 6 p.m. May I have a roll call, please? Mrs. Avery, here. Dr. Sherrill, here. Dr. Billwood, here. Mrs. Chester, here. Mrs. Polgettis, here. Mr. Gentile, here. Dr. Parmenter, here. Mr. Nace, here. And Mrs. Carmen, here. Can we raise your flag salute led by Mrs. Avery, please? Thank you. In accordance with Bill 131, both adequate and electronic notices meeting was provided to the press, the Yellow Township Municipal Building, and the district website on or before February 19, 2022. At this time, we'll open the meeting for public comment. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, I will, and there's no reading of communications, I will turn it over to Dr. Judy Pinto for presentations.
Thank you, President Carmen, and good evening, everyone. It is certainly our pleasure to have students to recognize this evening. So I will ask our middle school administrators here tonight, Principal Mr. Junker and Assistant Principal Mr. Down, to join me at the podium. Hopefully you picked up an agenda, and the board really enjoys having you here this evening for recognition. And the first category is winners of our annual GTMS Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Essay Contest. So I am going to turn it over to Mrs. Junker to announce the recipients of these awards.
Our first place student for the Dr. Junior Essay Contest was Madison Dad. Our second place student who for our Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Essay Contest was Neandra Dorval. And our third place recipient was Jackie Lapacha. She's not here this evening, but I want to say congratulations to her as well.
Why don't we please get in the middle and your facial routine. Parents do not mind move their master photo. We're not going to be together for 15 minutes. And our second category is also an essay contest, and this is the Elks Lodge of Galloway. What does it mean to love your country essay? And again, we have, and this particular contest is not just Galloway Township, it's throughout the area, and we also have 3 recipients for this as well.
Thank you again. Our third place recipient was Luna Patel. Congratulations. Our second place recipient is here this evening, Trevor Cunningham. Congratulations. And our first place recipient was Matt Christensen. He's not here this evening, but we give him congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you so much. We now have a budget presentation. Our families are welcome to stay for the budget presentation and the rest of the meeting. We also understand if you have homework or activities or just need to get home, but again, you are welcome to stay. So Mrs. Nixon and I will be going out front with a PowerPoint presentation related to the 2022-2023 budget. Mrs. Nixon is going to start our presentation off this evening. Thank you.
The first slides that we have show our current budget. This slide shows our revenues for the 21-22 school year. As you can see, local tax levy is 53%, and then state aid is 42% of our budget, with fund balance being 4%. And fund balance comes from prior year budgets that create tax relief for the taxpayers. Next slide, please. This slide shows our expenditures. The largest items within a budget, as you can see, are our salaries, other employee costs, which make up, and health benefits, which make up over 80% of the budget. The next slide go over our budget considerations and our next steps in the process. For next year's budget considerations, our tax levy cap is 2%. Approximately $677,000 for next year's budget, which represents 1% of the general fund budget total. We have bank cap available of $1.1 million. That's in addition to the $677,000. So technically, the budget for next year could be increased by the 2% tax levy cap plus the additional bank cap, or any amount in between that 2% plus the bank cap. We're able to use any portion of that. I will just note though that the $485,000 of that will expire this year if we do not use it in next year's budget. And then the remaining would be available for the next 2 years. We also have fund balance in our budget as we're working in preparation of $2.1 million based on the audit from last year. That number did decrease from the prior year. As I said, that creates tax relief by trying to keep that number similar year to year as a revenue item. So we also have that available to help the budget. Turn it over to Dr. J.
Thank you, Mrs. Nixon. So as you can imagine, the budget process actually takes many, many months. And so there are some key factors as we look ahead to 2022, 2023. Obviously, we know things are opening up with the pandemic. So we don't know whether there will still be some of the purchases that we needed to make or the restrictions in place. One of the things we do know about the impact of the pandemic is that our children have not had typical school years in recent years. So in planning for the budget, we are looking at where we may need to add support in certain programs, such as our youngest grades, or where our children are experiencing not just academic needs, but also areas in the mental health, social, emotional, and behavioral. So that is something that is not totally known on the protocol side, but certainly we have our children in front of us every day to be able to identify their needs. In terms of enrollment, we have done an enrollment analysis, and basically what we do is roll the children up from one grade to the next. We make a prediction for kindergarten, and then we assess class size. Our goal is always to keep class size reasonable, and certainly we do give partiality to the younger grades. The next three bullets: insurance increases, transportation increases, and state aid are not totally known. We do have some preliminary information related to insurance, but not all of the information. Transportation increases, we do not have that at all. And state aid, as you will see in another slide, we should already have it, but the governor's budget was delayed, budget adjustment was delayed, and so we do not have state aid. And if you remember that pie, although it's not half of the budget revenue, is a large portion. Other than the local tax levy, state aid is our biggest funding source. So not knowing that really only allows us to go so far with budget planning. So I mentioned that calendar. So next Tuesday, the governor will make his address, and it is required within 48 hours that state aid figures are released. So no later than Thursday, March 10th, we will receive information about how much funding we are receiving from the state of New Jersey. That next key date is on March 28th. We have to file the budget with the state of New Jersey, and there is software that is provided to the business administrators. It is quite detailed. We've recently advertised that the meeting originally scheduled for March 14th has been changed to March 21st. That is because of this change in the budget calendar. So the March 21st meeting is a meeting where Mrs. Nixon and I will present a more detailed information about the budget, and on March 21st, we will ask the board to set the rate. That then gives Mrs. Nixon time to meet that March 28th deadline. Then the Department of Ed reviews it. We have to finalize it by April 21st. April 25th is the formal public budget hearing. That is a time, again, people can comment on the budget at any board meeting, but certainly that is the official night where we will again present the budget and the board will have to do the final adoption. Next steps. We gave the board this evening some schedules, facility and technology committee meetings next week. Those projections I mentioned that we either have limited or no information we need, and then we start making adjustments. We've worked a lot with our administrative team and we spent a lot of time on budgeting, and we will meet with them. And that really, how much more we need to meet with the administrators depends on how much state aid we receive. We then have small group board budget meetings the week of March 14th, and I already mentioned those other dates. So that is our presentation for this evening. And certainly if the board members have any questions. And, you know, as always, there is another chance for public comment at the end of the board.
Thank you. So at this time, does any board members have any questions or comments? No? Okay, seeing none, we will reserve that for later meetings apparently. And moving on to superintendent's report.
Thank you. First item is the attorney's report. I'll turn it over to Mrs. Halpin.
Thank you very much. This is the last time we met. I've had the opportunity to work with the administration regarding employee matters, student matters, and contractual matters. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any questions from the board for Mrs. Halpin? Seeing none, moving on.
Thank you. Our next item is the enrollment report. In district, we have 3,083 students. When we add in students at special services school districts, other private schools, home instruction, charter, and choice, the total increases to 3,244 students. Item 3 is the January suspension report that the board has. Item 4 is to accept, modify, or reject the HIP report from the January 24th meeting. Item 5 for the board is a new HIP report. Item 6 is to approve the 2022-2023 school calendar. And item 7 is to adopt a continuation of our 4 main district goals. So items 4, 6, and 7 need action.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve items 4, 6, and 7 with 4 being to accept the harassment and intimidation and bullying report, please?
So moved.
Is there any board comment? May I have a roll call, please?
Dr. Bashir Blau. Yes. Mrs. Avery. Yes. Mrs. Chester. Yes. Ms. Dennis. Yes. Mr. Gentile.
Yes.
Dr. Fermenter.
Yes.
Vice President Days.
Yes.
And President Moore.
Yes. Curriculum instruction, please.
Thank you. And for those of you wondering what does the 2022-23 calendar look like, we will share it tomorrow. Curriculum instruction, item 1 is for homeschooling. Item 2 is for a principal intern. Item 3 is to have our GTMS students walk to Apps-Gammy. Not all of them, there's an identified group for a sneak peek of the Little Mermaid. Item 4, Think Day, which actually happened this past Saturday, and Mr. Davis shared with me that the team did well, so that's great. I look forward to hearing more about that. And item 5 is the volleyball schedule.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve items 1 through 5 on the curriculum?
So moved.
Second. Is there any board comment?
The only thing I can say is 10 other schools participated in high school, and the other township school team is second place. It's a great job.
Good job.
They were lost by a couple of points.
Oh, that's still pretty good.
It was great.
We will invite them.
Great. Thank you. May I have roll call, please?
Mr. Gentile.
Yes.
Dr. Fermenter.
Yes.
Mrs. Avery. Yes. Dr. Bashir Blau. Yes. Dr. Billeroo. Mrs. Chester.
Yes.
Yes. Vice President Days.
Yes.
And President Moore.
Yes. Finance and school operations. Do we have an update from Chairperson Ms. Bashir?
Yes, Finance Committee met prior to tonight's meeting, review the bills list and financial reports. And the majority of the items we discussed after that had to do with the 2022-2023 budget development update. Many of those items were presented by Dr. Duplin on this next as well tonight.
Dr. Bashir. Moving on with the agenda.
Resolutions 1 through 7 are to approve January 2022 financials. Resolution 8 is to approve the February bills list. Resolution 9 is to accept funding from the Jersey Department of Human Services to be paid out to the following employees through payroll. Resolution 10 is to approve Submission and acceptance of the Lancaster grant for Roller Projects. Resolution 11 is to approve itinerary agreement for translation services for the current school year. Resolution 12 is to revise previous school year certified tuition rates. Resolution 13 is to approve tuition receivable students for the current school year. Resolution 14 is to approve home instruction hours as listed. Resolution 15 is to approve the following out-of-district placement. Resolution 16 is to approve Rose Ryan as case manager. The dates listed and grade listed. And resolution 17 is to approve transportation contract. Thank you. Can I motion to items 1 through 17 under finances for operations?
So moved.
Second.
Sorry, board comment. Yes.
Very happy on resolution 9 to see this would be given to their employees. I think it's really nice that we're finally acknowledging that we need to retain staff, and it's something that you see educators get a bonus. So I'm very excited.
May I roll call, please? Mr. Chitzio?
Yes.
Dr. Michelle Roth? Yes. Avery? Yeah. Dr. Billaboo? Mrs. Chester? Yes. Mrs. Colgatis? Yes. Dr. Commenter?
Yeah.
Vice President Dace?
Yes.
And President Carr? Yes. Facilities and maintenance, please. Resolution to approve and authorize the disposal of surplus property. Facilities and maintenance.
So moved.
Sorry, board comment. May I roll call, please? Mr. Chitzio?
Yes.
Dr. Billaboo? Mrs. Avery? Yeah. Dr. Michelle Roth? Yes. Mrs. Chester? Yes. Mrs. Colgatis? Yes. Dr. Commenter? Yes. Vice President Dace?
Yes.
And President Carr? Yes. Meeting school facilities, please.
Thank you. We have 4 items this evening. Item 1 is for PAL basketball pictures. Item 2 is for PAL basketball games. Item 3 is for Mainland Baptist Church to use the gym for games. And item 4 is for PAL basketball games.
Thank you. Can I make a motion to approve items 1 through 4 under meeting school facilities? Third board comment. May I have a roll call, please?
Yes.
Dr. Billaboo? Mrs. Avery? Yeah. Dr. Michelle Roth? Yes. Mrs. Chester?
Yes.
Mrs. Colgatis? Yes. Dr. Commenter?
Yes.
Vice President Dace?
Yes.
And President Carr? Yes. Moving on to personnel, I'm actually going to read the first item on the agenda under personnel. It's a resolution to accept with regret the letter of intent to retire from Annette C.G. Quinto, Superintendent of Schools, effective January 1st, 2023. Dr. J. Quinto has worked in the Galway Township Public School District for 29 years, and her dedication and service to students and staff are appreciated by our entire school family. Can I have a motion for item 1 under personnel, please?
Point of order. Don't make one.
She's stuck. We can move on if the board agrees.
So moved.
Is there any board comment? Thank you. And at this time, I'm actually going to, before we move on to voting, I'm actually going to open it up for public comment as well, just for this item. Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Ed Zimmerman, and I'm the president of the Galway Township Education Association. I rise this evening to speak on the motion you're about to vote. In my role as GTA president for the past 12.5 years, I've grown into Dr. J. Quinto III. And while it might be rare for an association president to speak highly of an outgoing superintendent, Dr. J. Quinto is no ordinary superintendent. That's not to say that we've always seen eye to eye on every topic. There have been quite a few times that we've adamantly disagreed, but no superintendent works harder or cares more for the students and staff under her charge than Dr. Quinto. While staff may not always agree with her decisions, her door is always open and she's always willing to listen to what to do. A rare quality in Chief School Administrator. I wish you good luck in your search to replace her. She comes up. She's one of a kind who will be sorely missed. Your time team is now always best.
Thank you.
Assistant. I'll just ask the question. What do Michael Jordan, Jennifer Lopez, and Lee James Brown have in common with Annette? They were all considered the hardest working people in their line of business. Without a doubt, Annette has been the most dedicated and hardest working superintendent a district can find. Under her leadership, children have remained the ultimate priority. I am honored that Annette hired me as her administrative assistant and have continued to learn and grow while working in her office. We've been a great team for almost a decade now, and I'm going to sorely miss her when she retires. It is rare to get an opportunity to work with someone who has such integrity and overall talent. I wish you lots of luck in that and congratulations. Thank you.
Moving on. So can I have roll call, please?
Yes.
Dr. Clementer? Mrs. Avery? Yes. Dr. Bashir Bluff? Yes. Dr. Billwood? Mrs. Chester? Yes. Mrs. Cole Geddes? Yes, with regret. Vice President Dees?
Yes.
Yes. And now I'll turn the agenda over to them. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Zimmerman and Ms. Harris, for your kind words. We'll have to talk about your employment tomorrow. I have to throw a little humor. Thank you so much. And now back to business. Item 2 is also retirement. Resolution to accept with regret the letter of intent to retire from Sharon Dubinsky, Child Studies Team Secretary, effective May 13, 2022. Mrs. Dubinsky has worked in the Yellow Township Public School District for 16 years, and her dedication and service to students and staff are appreciated by our entire school family.
Thank you.
And roll call, please.
Yes.
Dr. Clementer?
Yes.
Mrs. Avery? Yes. Dr. Bashir Bluff? Yes. Dr. Billwood? Mrs. Chester?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole Geddes? Yes. Vice President Dees?
Yes.
President Carter?
Yes. Thank you. Item 3 is to adjust the retirement date for Bill Chapman. Item 4 is letter of resignation. Items 5 and 6 are to rescind approval of employment. Items 7, 8, 9, and 10 are all leave requests. Item 11 is to approve an ICR teacher. Item 12 is to approve a teacher of Smithville. Item 13 is to extend a lead position at GTMS. Item 14 is to extend a lead position at Reach Road. Items 15, 16, 17 are all approval of classroom assistants. Item 18 is for a 12-month secretary, student services secretary. Item 19 extends a lead of a child study team secretary. Items 20 and 21 are to hire part-time food service workers. Item 22 approves adjustments in the salary guide, and this is for certificated staff who advance their degrees. Item 23 is to hire a long-term speech language specialist, and item 24 is to approve 4 additional substitute teachers.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve items 3 through 24 under personnel, please?
Second.
Is there any more comment? May I have roll call?
Mr. Chinsfield?
Yes.
Dr. Bashir Bluff? Yes. Mrs. Avery? Yes. Dr. Billwood? Mrs. Chester? Yes. Yes. Dr. Clementer?
Yes.
Vice President Dees?
Yes.
And President Carter?
Yes, supplemental personnel, please. Thank you. The board did receive a corrected page this evening. It was number 1. It's the same staff member, but it was the wrong category of approval. So item 1 is a teacher for academic support agrees. Item 2 is a child care coordinator.
Item 3 is a supplemental staff position. Item 4 is the Arthur Rand Forestry Tutoring Program staff. Item 5 is staff participation in a webinar. Item 6 is staff to assist with PM detention at the middle school. And item 7 is to approve staff for a 7th grade mid-year ELA curriculum.
Thank you. Can I list items 1 through 7 under supplementary personnel?
So.
Is there any board comment? We have roll call, please.
Yes.
Dr. Bashir Blau. Yes. Mrs. Avery. Here. Dr. Billwood. Yes. Mrs. Chester. Yes. Mrs. Colganis. Yes. Dr. Parmenter. Yes. Vice President Davis.
Yes.
And President Carr.
Yes. Seeing no policy, moving on to notice of public meetings.
Thank you. As I noted earlier, our next meeting is March 21st, and then we also have a meeting on March 28th. We do have one winter concert remaining at Reach Road on March 16th.
Old business going around the board. Mrs. Colganis.
I just wanted to mention at the winter concert how wonderful it was. I saw the Roland concert that was here in the middle school, and just how I'm so proud of the arts that we have here in Galloway, and especially the music teachers, and even their advocacy with the program for the event, and putting in little information about social emotional learning that comes through the arts, and how especially music, helps with even math understanding, and just to recognize the efforts of those music teachers, and also their special training that they have. I believe it's Mr. Little has training at ORF, which is a really specialized music training, which teaches children to think like musicians and to be creative. And I'm impressed when we have people who are leaders in their field who take that extra, do that little bit of extra to become advocates for the arts. I'm really proud of what I saw this past week. Thank you.
Dr. Bowler. Dr. Sherlock. Mrs. Chester. Dr. Parmenter. Mr. Goodfield. Mr. Davis.
Susan, I was at that call last time, so also kids did a great job after really great night.
Thank you. I have nothing, so I will open up the meeting at this time for public comments. Or public comment this evening. Seeing none, we do have executive session this evening, so can I have a motion to go into executive session on February 28, 2022 for the purpose of discussing personnel, a student matter, and attorney-client communication. And that is further resolved that Galloway Township Board of Education's discussion of each subject matter in executive session shall be disclosed to the public. And if and when confidentiality is no longer required, the action pursuant to said discussion takes place in a public meeting unless otherwise permitted by law. Now therefore be resolved that the Galloway Township Board of Education will be in executive session for approximately 60 minutes and action may or may not be taken. Can I have a motion to go into executive, please? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained? Thank you. 60 minutes. Thank you. And that's approximately 15 minutes, please. Thank you.